I even cleaned his room for him the other day. Wish I hadn't done that.
Chris, our bath is ready.
I
say we never speak of this again.
I might move.
Now you'll see an episode where Chris finds out he's Carter's heir, but decides to turn down the money. So Peter takes drastic measures to keep the wealth in the family. The episode starts at the Griffin house with Peter, Brian, and Stewie watching the Travel Channel. They see a show with a guy with bowed legs and really short shorts. Chris comes to Peter asking to do something together, mentioning they had promised to go fishing, but Peter admits he lied to get Chris away, offering him $1 billion to leave him alone. Brian suggests it'd be good for Chris if Peter spent more time with him, but Peter prefers bonding with quiet people.
Well, what's in it for old Pete?
He's your son. Don't you want someone to bond with?
No, I only form unspoken bonds.
Next, Lois comes to the dinner table saying she was on the phone with her mom and got news that her dad broke his leg, saying it seemed he hurt himself on the mall stairs. Brian comments that Barbara will have a job taking care of Carter, but Lois says her mom's actually busy posing for a magazine called Vane's Magazine. Meg asks if Lois will take care of her dad then, and she says she's busy planning to get her hair done at Perfect Chanel and spending the next 14 hours getting someone to notice it. Then Lois stands in front of the TV, blocking everyone's view, hoping someone will compliment her hair. Peter's the first to ask why she's doing that. Lois tells him it's because he hasn't noticed anything different about her. Peter says Emmy from his work kissed him, but he didn't back off or try anything further. He adds in his defense he noticed Emmy changed her hairstyle in the past few days.
All right, Amy at work kissed me. It is true that I did not step away, but I did not lean in. However, in my defense, she had recently gotten her hair done differently.
The scene goes back with Lois doubting if Meg is the right person to help Carter, considering the previous incident. Meg refuses, mentioning the last time they played checkers on the plane, she won and Carter punched her chest. Lois then thinks of asking Chris for help, but notices he's not at dinner. Meg informs he's upstairs, and Lois decides to check what's going on. Meanwhile, Peter takes the opportunity to check on his furless brother, who's in the shed. When he gets there, Peter finds his brother asking to close the door because the moonlight is burning his skin. Peter tries to calm him, mentioning that Christmas is coming, and if he behaves well, he'll have all the eggshells and coffee grounds to himself. The brother asks to meet the family, and that unfolds in the story.
Yes, keep being good, and all the eggshells and coffee grounds will be yours. Can I meet the family? You've overstepped. No Christmas.
Now the scene shifts to Lois going to her son's room. Lois calls Chris to talk, first expressing her love for him and highlighting that Peter loves him too, even though he struggles to show emotions. Lois then mentions that Chris's grandpa needs help and suggests that spending time with Carter would be great for both of them. Chris agrees to give it a try. At Carter's house, Chris asks him if it's so bad to have a broken leg. Carter responds that it's awful. He feels bored, can't sleep properly, and has to wait for the leg to heal. He points out that the worst part is not being able to have sex during that time.
And the worst part about it is I can't have sex. God, I wish there was a way I could just do it myself.
Let me show you something.
That was amazing!
Now, Carter is on his living room couch reading a book, and Chris arrives asking what they're going to do together at that moment. He suggests ordering pizza, placing the order online. Carter agrees, and they brainstorm together on the computer. At one point, Carter suggests ordering 2 pizzas to race and see which one arrives faster. Chris gets excited about the idea. Shortly after, the pizza delivery guy arrives at the house, but Carter tells him they were just joking and calls him a clown. The delivery guy asks if he's going to pay for the pizza, and Carter replies that the money is in the mashed potatoes pile. He suggests the delivery guy eat the mashed potatoes without using his hands until he finds the money. Carter enthusiastically says he's enjoying the joke and Chris's company. Then Chris and Carter start rehearsing a rock song. Jason arrives, apologizing for being late, but Carter, nervous, tells him they're taking it seriously and would like him to do the same. They resume the rehearsals inside the limousine in front of Chris's house. Carter thanks him for taking care of him and helping out, expressing how much it meant to him.
Well, it is to me, and I want to give you some money for all your time.
Come on, you don't have to do that. I just like getting to spend time with my grandpa, you know?
Next, Carter appears at the Griffin house door, and Lois is the first to notice how much he has improved since they last saw him. Then Carter announces he has an important announcement for everyone, revealing he has decided to change his will and name his grandson Chris as the sole heir of the family. Everyone is stunned and surprised by the news.
Oh no, my hairless twin got out. Hello, family. Let's eat all the garbage we want.
Inside the house, Lois questions if Carter will really leave all his belongings to Chris instead of Barbara. Carter assures Lois that his wife will be dead before him, as he had promised. Chris interrupts them, stating he doesn't want the money. Carter argues that's why he should be the heir, because he's original. Lois reinforces she's not interested in the money either, but Carter doesn't believe her. When it's Peter's turn, he claims that since Carter took him out of the will, he'll do the same to Carter in his will. However, as he tears the paper, Lois reveals that Peter actually tore up his birth certificate. In the nighttime scene, lying in bed about to sleep, Peter expresses his discontent to Lois, stating he doesn't believe her father handed the entire fortune to Chris. Lois tries to calm him down, saying they shouldn't worry about it because it was her father's money and he could do whatever he wanted with his fortune.
Anyway, I don't plan on losing out on any of that money. So if you ask me, we gotta start sucking up to Chris right away.
What?
The sunny scene takes us inside the Griffin house, where Peter tries to convince his son Chris to share some of the inheritance with him. Chris is surprised by his father's strange behavior and asks what's going on. Peter unnaturally starts laughing at unfunny things, praises video games, and suggests they come up with a secret handshake just for them. However, he realizes he's going overboard, and the scene extends into the night with Chris already absent. Now, on the living room couch, Chris was watching a series when Peter interrupts him, trying to get his attention by saying he had decapitated the guy who was bothering Chris at school. Chris, frightened, corrects his father, explaining that wasn't the guy and that he confused him with the deaf guy. Later, on the same couch, Peter continues trying to get Chris's attention, talking about a movie on TV. However, Chris starts asking too many unnecessary questions and making comments until Peter loses patience and leaves. At the Drunken Clam bar, Quagmire and Joe are having a beer while watching TV. Peter arrives out of the blue, all disheveled, downtrodden, and tired to his friends. Joe comments that Peter looks exhausted. Peter reveals he's on a mission to please his son Chris as much as possible so he can enjoy the fortune left by Carter. He mentions he even cleaned Chris's room but won't do that again.
Wish I hadn't done that.
Chris, our bath is ready.
I
say we never speak of this again.
might move.
Joe comments that Chris's future wife will be lucky, and Quagmire suggests that a guy can also be lucky if he's gay. Peter, pleased with the suggestion, says he now has 2 ideas to try to make it work. Then Peter enters Chris's room and wakes him up, saying he has something important to tell. He mentions that there comes a time when every man looks at his son and thinks, I want to take this to the next level. Chris finds it strange and asks why Peter wants to marry him. Peter explains that it's to simplify things, involving cards, bank accounts, and games like hide and seek and tag. Chris agrees, but Peter takes the opportunity to say that the ring is special and was his mother's previously. The scene then shifts to Peter driving his car with Chris beside him, but Peter is heading towards Vermont, the best place to have a skiing accident. Inside the car, Chris reads a list of wedding plans. Peter asks him to calm down because they wouldn't solve everything quickly. Chris and Peter visit various places to organize the ceremony, including a kitchenware store, a trattoria, Johnny's dance studio, and a bed and breakfast inn. The ceremony begins. However, Lois unexpectedly arrives, interrupting the ceremony and revealing that several people called the police, thinking the situation was abnormal. Lois accuses Peter of wanting Chris's inheritance, but Chris defends their decision to get married, stating that the time they spent together planning the wedding was meaningful. He expresses that if being married means more time with his dad, then it's worth it. Touched by Chris's words, Peter apologizes and asks for forgiveness, promising to make it up to him. Peter kneels down and asks Chris to be his son again, and Chris enthusiastically accepts. The episode ends with Lois suggesting everyone should go home since they've had enough emotions for one day. Peter agrees and adds that he believes the adventure has come to an end.